All right, story number 2.
All right, story number 2 comes from the Washington Post. This is about postnatal retreat in Northern Virginia, offering mothers a luxurious environment to recover after childbirth, providing services such as lactation consulting, infant care, education, mental health support. And all this is inspired by a similar practice in South Korea, which you probably know right firsthand, right?
My hometown, yeah.
The facility aims to fill a gap in postpartum care in the U.S., whereas such comprehensive support is often lacking. But these high-cost retreats make them inaccessible to many families. So, unfortunately, most people probably won't be able to actually go. But anyways, this is the story here about this.
People who can afford the spa room at the hospital, they don't need an additional luxury retreat. They just go back to their home in the Hamptons.
Hold on to that because we're going to talk about it in slide 3. It's fucking ridiculous. But I have a lot of, I think this is indicative of larger issues, specifically in the United States. But just for example, right off the bat, Asian countries seem to be doing this. So in South Korea, these are popping up. In China, it said that sitting for a month is a common practice with new mothers where they spend the first 30 days resting and receiving family support. And in Japan, the same thing. So you start to think, well, the Asians, they must have a healthy work-life balance. No, they don't. I also looked up where all the fucking sweatshops are. And it's in Southeast Asia, South Asia, East Asia. I know Asia's a big place. They could have just said Asia. So my point is, it's not like Scandinavian countries, which have all these social programs and they pay, out of the ass for tax. You go, that would make sense. Even in Asian countries, where all the sweatshops are, they recognize the benefit of a mother relaxing after she's given birth. So this is another thing that fascinates me. I think part of the larger problem here in the United States, there's been studies that I will link to, that women in minorities, their pain isn't taken as seriously in the United States healthcare system, which I find to be absolutely batshit crazy. I looked this up though. Most doctors, 65.6% of doctors in the United States are white males. If you look at Asian countries, it's a monoculture. So it seems to be this weird divide because listen, if you're in China, you're probably Chinese. If you're in South Korea, you're probably Korean. Here, there seems to be a divide amongst men and women and whites and non-whites when it comes to pain. And I think this is part of the reason why we expect women after 3 days to get out of the hospital and start working again. So I don't want to belabor this point, but look at that baby's head. So for a long time, I heard that it was like a watermelon going through a lemon. So then I asked ChatGPT, is that really accurate? And it goes, no, it's more like a small cantaloupe going through a thing that's the size of a kiwi.
So a different melon.
A different melon, a slightly smaller melon, but
it's same, but different. But still,
right. It's still in the melon family. It would still go in a fruit salad, and everybody would celebrate. But the kiwi stretching to the side of a bagel, that's a big fucking deal. Plus, the pain is so great that sometimes they have to go right into your spine with the pain medication. 3 days in the hospital doesn't seem like enough. And I'm not just trying to get laid by taking the side of the ladies. But don't you think it's a little fucking nuts?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not nuts. I think that's the problem.
Hey, that's the thing. Like, have you ever been like recently?
This was last time you got ovaries. Yeah, right. Yeah. Maybe if medicine in the United States was the tits, it would be a lot better.
You would think. Here's the other thing. Chainsaws were invented for what a thing called when they episiotomy or some shit. Like babies used to be circumcised without pain medication. The way we think about all this shit is just so conceptually bizarre. And I think it's because most people who are doing it are fucking male and just don't care. Strange. Real.
Yeah. I mean, we are just a bunch of crazy UK Protestants. I mean, it's not like the United States is anything super duper special, right? Like we're just all dumb people like everybody else. But I feel like over the last, medicine used to be celebrated, right? So we had a nice glorious tradition of celebrating medical advances until pretty recently. I mean, we had that
when it started to be, it was politicized now, and now, vaccines are meant to track you and sterilize you.
Google search. We're bastardizing education.
Mm-hmm.
Only the boomers care about medicine. Apparently.
You talked about cost, and this is true. So it said, this is from the article, nationwide, there's only a few places like the thing we're talking about, but they can cost as much as $1,500 a night. This particular one tops out at $880 a night. Now you think about that much money, right? A vaginal delivery costs about $13,000 in the United States. A C-section costs about $1,550. Then you take into consideration that we spend the most already on healthcare, $12,555 per capita. Then you go, well, certainly we're living a long time and our babies are fine, but that's not true either. We're very low in life expectancy, but behind Estonia and Saudi Arabia. And then if you look at infant mortality, we're 54th out of 227. We're the biggest, strongest country in the world, supposedly with the best education and healthcare systems, and we're 54th in infant mortality out of 227 countries. Then you think, all right, well, fuck it, I'm going to stay at one of these places anyway. We don't get a single day of paternity or maternity leave, not from the government. If your boss happens to give it to you, great, but you're beholden to your employer to get a single day off after giving birth. That is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Who's making these laws? You know?
It's going to go into Stockholm syndrome, which I think plays into the next story. Once you worship the dollar, and we worship the dollar to the point of absurdity. Anything you do in the dollar's name is fine. So you go, my wife just gave birth, but bitch better get back in the office. We got to make that money, make that bread, hustle, rise and grind, motherfucker. And we've internalized that. What's that? Oh, make those sandwiches. Well, only if she works at Subway, because making free sandwiches doesn't help the larger economy. Nobody gives a fuck about that. We have got to stop worshiping the dollar, but we never will. We never, ever, ever.
What about the Bitcoin? Can we worship the Bitcoin?
I don't even understand Bitcoin. Am I supposed to understand Bitcoin?
I hope not. I don't know.
Yeah, the good thing is, the system's good when a medical care is less than a Bitcoin. So you can get one medical care for one Bitcoin. It's a beautiful trade.
Shouldn't we give all pregnant chicks a Bitcoin? Would that help anything? It's
the current rate, you can pay your hospital bill.
See, I don't know what the words mean that I'm saying, but I think if we just gave every chick
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
The time I knew I was going down a dark road, which I didn't understand, so it just bailed me out.
It isn't I guess my big closing point here to kind of wind down from that depressing topic is, like, people need to take a good long look at like what defines what makes a country great, because
yes.
Yeah.
The points you made aren't good in any sense of the word. Like, it's
kind of how
our baby's still dying out of the womb.
We are dying. Our babies are dying. Everything is super expensive. We're paying for a Lamborghini, and we're getting Kia Soul production
in Virginia.
In Virginia, I don't get it.